Hello, my name is Andrea Mock. Today I'm going to do a presentation on texting in an adolescent's everyday life. In my research, I researched the negative effects of how texting and social media can affect an adolescent's everyday life. How many of you have a cell phone in your pocket? How many times a day do you send a text? How many times a day are you looking at your social media? 8 trillion text messages are sent every day. 15 million text messages per minute and 250,000 text messages per second. Adolescents text 5 times more than an adult. The first thing I'm going to talk about today is the negative effect that texting can do for teens that text while they drive. Texting while driving is a growing problem in the United States. 11 teens die every day as a result of texting while driving. Only 2% of teenagers never text and drive. 21% of teenagers are involved in a fatal car accident distracted by their cell phones. There are 3 main distractions. They're visual, manual, and cognitive. A visual distraction is any distraction that takes the driver's eyes off the road, such as looking at a text on your phone. Manual distractions are distractions that take the driver's hands off the steering wheel when a teenager composes a text message while driving. A cognitive distraction is any distraction that takes the driver's mind off the task of driving, such as when you're reading a text message. 5 seconds is the average time your eyes are off the road while texting. When traveling at 55 miles per hour, that's enough time to cover the length of a football field when you're blindfolded. In response to the rising incidence of distracted driving causing many fatalities, many states are implementing laws to regulate drivers for texting while driving. Also, the state implemented many programs in schools to educate teenager drivers on the dangers of texting while driving. Today's communication technology was found to be related to identity and relationship difficulties. Texting and use of social media can create relationship problems, identity distress, anxiety, and peer aggression. Today's communication technology is associated with poor relationships with parents and their peers. This creates barriers between impulse and the ability to act on them, issues of privacy with users sharing personal information, and the state of social skills among today's youth. Another problem with texting as a communication is it can open the door to miscommunication. When adolescents cannot see or hear with others with whom they are communicating, it deprives them of the visual and auditory cues of facial expression, body language, and voice dynamics. Texting allows the individual to distance themselves from owning and dealing more directly with their feelings. These two pictures will show you the comparison of having an argument with a couple when they are arguing face to face or when they are texting and they have an argument. As you can see the picture to the left, you can definitely see the facial expression and the body language. As you can see to the right, you will not be able to see the facial expression or the body language. The extensive use of social media and texting has been proven to result in problems such as depression, loneliness, aggressiveness, and low self-esteem. How many texts per day do you think a teen texts? Teens send an average of 167 texts per day. How many hours do you think a teen texts or is on social media? They consume more than 10 hours per day on texting or social media. Due to the amount of time communicating on these electronics, this has caused a great amount of stress for adolescents. For example, how many days, how many hours are you awake during the day? For example, if you are awake from 7 a.m. to 9 p.m., that is 12 hours that you are awake. And 10 hours you are actually texting or on social media. The increased use of texting and social media has contributed to many physical impairments, such as sleep deprivation, lack of eating, and limited physical activity. For sleep deprivation, as you can see, the teen wants to be up late at night because they are so into the texting and being on social media that they do not sleep. Lack of eating. Today, many families do not sit at the table and eat with their family. Instead, they are just eating snack foods and eating foods that aren't good for them because they are too busy texting and on their social media. Physical activity. How many times do you see teens that are texting and on social media instead of being out and hanging out with their friends, taking a walk, or having any kind of form of physical activity? Instead, they are too busy texting or on social media. Texting has become the teens' preferred method of communication. 63% of teens socialize by texting. Only 35% of teens socialize by face-to-face communication. Teens are always texting or on social media. Compulsive texting is an addiction. Teens' compulsive texting was proven to be negative for a teenager's grades, school bonding, and scholastic competence. Research has demonstrated a decrease in a teen's GPA. The frequency of texting while in class can decrease the ability to take notes and ability to recall specific details from a lecture. Teens are so busy texting or spending time on social media that they do not pay attention to what the teachers are teaching. Another concern to many parents with communicating by text has exhibited a behavior called sexting. If you're not familiar with sexting, it is defined as when people take and send sexual revealing pictures of themselves or send sexual explicit messages through text message. Teenagers enjoy to sext because they feel it is a way to show off, entice someone, or prove commitment in relationships. Most teens feel exchanging sexual content is a way to communicate about how another teen's desires to date or hook up with each other. Sending sexual images to minors is against the law. An individual can be charged with child pornography or felony obscenity. As the use of communication by text or social media has dramatically increased amongst our teenager population, there are many negative effects which can affect a teenager's life on a day-to-day basis. These effects have created an adverse effect on the way adolescents communicate in today's culture. This concludes my presentation. Do you have any questions?